But first, we'll have the latest in the shooting of those two Detroit police officers yesterday. The officer who was shot in the head remains in critical condition tonight at Henry Ford Hospital. A sergeant who was shot in the leg resting at home. We're not releasing their names at the request of their families. Police have identified the shooter, though, as 23-year-old Matthew Renard Joseph, shot and killed at the scene.
And last night's shooting brought back memories for another Detroit police officer who was shot in the line of duty nearly 3 years ago. Tonight he's telling his story for the first time to 7 Action News reporter Cheryl Choden. And Cheryl, this must be such a tough time for him to see again and relive again.
Absolutely, Glenda. Well, when a police officer or officers are shot, it is devastating to everyone. But for an officer who has previously been shot in the line of duty, it does bring back a flood of memories, and it brings home the stark reality of what they face every single day.
You never know. That's the bad part about this. You don't know. Nothing's routine.
Detroit police officer Joe D'Angelo is talking about what happened late yesterday on Linwood, when 2 Detroit police officers working with an ATF task force were shot at close range by a homicide suspect they were pursuing.
Told me the names, and I went, oh my God, I know him. And he was the one that was shot in the head.
The one who was shot in the head is critical. The other, a sergeant, was shot in the leg.
Never the same. You know, once you get shot, you're never the same.
And D'Angelo knows that only too well. Nearly 3 years ago, he was shot in the leg while responding to shots fired in a duplex on Shaner.
It's still hard. You know, 3 years, it's still hard.
4 other officers were also shot. One of them, much loved on the force, Brian Huff, was killed. Joe says the officer shot last night was a lot like Brian.
He was a friendly man, and he was one of those that would literally, like Brian, he would his shirt off his back.
Joe, who is doing his first ever interview since he was shot, was of course devastated by the death of Brian Huff and says he thinks about him and what happened every single day.
Survivor guilt, anger, all the emotions that come in came. And what pulled me through was my family.
Joe's family means everything to him. He and daughter Haley do almost everything together.
Sometimes we play on the Wii and just take walks with the dogs and all that.
She was only 7 when this happened, but now at 10, she understands it more and worries more.
I worry that he won't make it home.
You look at things differently. You appreciate things more.
Joe and his wife and daughter say the families of the 2 officers shot last night are in their thoughts and in their prayers.
My heart goes out to him. It really does. It really does, because it's going to be a long road.
Just show my support. That's all I can do right now.
And Joe says he does plan to come here to Henry Ford Hospital to visit the family of the officer who is still here in critical condition. And as Stephen said, we have the names of the officers, but the police department has asked us not to release them, and we are respecting those wishes. Although the police department also said tonight they're reaching out to the entire community and asking the community to keep both officers' families in their prayers. And I think they will certainly do that. Reporting live at Henry Ford Hospital, I'm Cheryl Choden, 7 Action News.
And Cheryl, so many supporters and people that care going to the hospital to see how the officers are doing. Does Joe know the officers personally?
Yes, the one officer who is still here in critical condition, he worked with him at one point, and he does know them. He said he is a great guy. He said, you heard him say in the piece he would give you the shirt off his back. He said he's known him for a long time. He said when he heard about the shooting, of course, he was shocked and devastated. So I think you're right, Glenda. I think the whole community is putting their arms around these families to give them support.
All right, thank you, Cheryl.